Started in 1997. At the time in Ireland, or in Dublin, well in Ireland there was some like graffiti. Street art wasn't really a thing, and probably at the start I should differentiate between the worlds of graffiti and the world of street art, because it's become a bit more interlinked now, but at the time street art wasn't really even a thing. It wasn't something that people recognized. So what I got into was graffiti as opposed to street art, so like tagging. As long as I can remember, I would copy like album artwork and band logos. And so lettering was always something that I was interested in. My mother was a graphic designer. When I was really young, I mean, like before school, I can remember she had these books, letter set books, and they would have these big thick books that would have different fonts and every character within each font and transfers. And I was really drawn to like the naive kind of digital styles and stuff like that. And I very quickly realized that I could write my name using C from one font, and then I could change to a different font. I started with a friend of mine from school, and we hadn't got a clue what we were using, like house paint that we found in our sheds. And so it was a naive entry into it, and we were very clueless. But then over the next 1 or 2 years, we sort of educated ourselves. We got this book called Subway Art, which is a very famous publication. In a couple of years, we found that there was a spray paint shop in town, and then we started meeting other people and kind of realized that there had been a generation of graffiti artists before we started, and they were all really nice, and so you kind of develop relationships and friendships over time. Well, I was lucky in that where I grew up in Dublin was a labyrinth of alleys. The geographical look of having that on my doorstep. So I was literally able to hop over my back wall, do a few tags, hop back on over my walls within the community of graffiti or street art. It was meeting other people from other areas in Dublin. It's a really nice environment to work in. And then there was also, I knew the other artists who were going to be painting, so I had this itch to try things that I hadn't really done as much before. So it was probably due to the fact that I was painting that occasion with that particular selection of artists that led me towards doing the type of painting that I did. If something that you paint in public can change anyone's day for the better, then a lot of it is just really pleasant, and a lot of it is just really chatting to people about, you know, they might ask what your motivations are. A lot of people, it doesn't make any sense that you would spend your own money to buy paint and to go and spend your time at this location, you know, spend a day or whatever doing something that will only last. Like, a lot of people are like, well, why would you buy, you know, like I mean, my favorite albums, when I first heard them, I was like, oh, but then it's like, there's something, but it's different, and so I want to hear it again, or that painting was weird, I want to see it again. Or you'll see someone kind of practicing this style, you know, over and developing styles over however long a period of time, and you're like, oh, I get it now. And I should have got it back then, but it was just they saw something that I didn't. Then at the same time, there are certain things that I've just loved since I was a kid. I've loved colour, never gonna not love colour, and I've loved hard edge abstract work, and I'm never not going to. So I think those kind of things are probably just things that are going to be with me for however long I'm making. Being given an opportunity like that at Waterford Walls to paint such a large thing it sort of solidified in my mind, even though I fluctuate in terms of my esteem massively, and anxiety and stuff like that can really play a huge role. But it ticked a few boxes of challenges that I had never encountered before. Those kind of milestones that maybe you might meet in terms of any sort of practice that can say, oh, I've done that, I can do it. I feel like I just have to do stuff. I feel like I have to make paintings or drawings or paint walls or make music. It's something I don't know where it comes from, but if I don't do it, I'll drive everyone nuts. I'll be in a really bad mood. Trying to stay motivated when motivation is low can be a really difficult thing. I mean, there are days when I will just, and the wonderful thing about having a studio is that you can leave your house, go to work, and you can have a bad day at work. You might not be in the mood. You can paint something and you're like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter, paint over it. But you can come in a bad mood and think, I have no ideas, I don't know what I'm doing, this doesn't feel good. But then you can start just put a colour down, you're like, oh, maybe, and then everything can change. So trying to remain motivated can be difficult, but my advice would be to just try doing something anyway. Now, some people will say don't force it, and I agree with that to a certain degree. If you're not precious about a drawing, it can be on the back of an envelope, it can be, just try and do something. Advice, try as best you can to draw a lot. If you have somewhere, if you're lucky enough to have somewhere that you can practice in your garden or close to your house, or you can practice a bit in private and sort of get comfortable with the tools, that can really help. I think a lot of people might be discouraged by it if they go out and paint in public and the result isn't what they had planned.